You ever watch someone so full of themselves, so convinced they're right, that you almost feel bad when the truth hits them like a brick wall? Almost. That was Karen. Karen Whitfield. Our local HOA president, self-appointed enforcer of all things petty, and let me tell you, she really thought she was gonna take us down over a $200 lake maintenance fee that didn't even exist. It was a Saturday morning, real quiet, birds chirping, my wife Maya watering the flower beds outside the old cabin her grandmother left her. And then, out of nowhere, Karen comes storming across our lawn like she's serving a warrant, yelling loud enough to wake the whole lake. You think you can skip out on your responsibilities, she hollered, pointing like she was calling out a fugitive on national TV. And behind her, two actual cops who, to their credit, looked more confused than concerned. Now Maya, she just stood there, calm as a lake at dawn. Not because she didn't care, no, Maya knew exactly what was going on. She'd been expecting this showdown for weeks. She saw it coming the minute that first nasty HOA letter showed up. Me. I wanted to pay the stupid fee and avoid the drama. But Maya, she said, you don't feed a stray raccoon just to keep it quiet. You block the crawl space and make sure it never comes back. Yeah, that's my wife. Karen had it all planned. She brought a thick manila folder stuffed with God knows what, had her phone out live streaming everything like she was hosting her own courtroom reality show. She was talking about how Maya was undermining the community, how people like us didn't respect the rules. And every time she said community, she meant me. She waved around made-up documents, claimed this fee had been in effect for years, but Maya, cool as ever, just asked, can you show me the vote where this was approved? And that's when Karen's voice went up an octave, you know, like a kid who's about to lose an argument and starts shouting nonsense just to drown you out. She screamed something about willful fraud, then, get this, she called 911. On live stream. Said my wife was a scammer. Said she was threatening the integrity of the neighborhood. I swear, if it hadn't been so pathetic, it would have been almost impressive. But what Karen didn't know, and this is where it gets good, was that Maya wasn't just a smart woman with a good memory and a love for documentation. She was also the new director of public safety for the whole damn county. And those two officers Karen dragged out. Yeah, they worked for her. The moment Officer Kim started giving Maya a second look, like she recognized her from morning briefings, the entire vibe shifted. Karen kept rambling, but the officers were now watching her, not Maya. And then, while Karen was still ranting about community values and trying to get the cops to make an arrest, Maya disappeared inside for a minute. And came back with a wooden box. Not flashy, just old, like something you'd find in a grandmother's attic. She set it down like it weighed more than it looked and said, real quiet, if you're going to accuse someone of fraud, Mrs. Whitfield, you'd better be ready to talk about this. Inside were 2 decades of handwritten notes, receipts, recordings, everything her grandmother had ever received or paid to that HOA. Not a single mention of a lake maintenance fee. Not once. She pulled out a USB drive and played a recording. Karen's voice, crystal clear, talking to some guy named Brad about how they could milk the newcomers and target the older properties because those people wouldn't fight back. The look on Karen's face. Man, I wish I had a photo of it. You could see the gears grinding to a halt. The live stream chat went nuts. People were commenting things like, I got the same charge, and, wait, I thought that was mandatory too. It was like years of quiet frustration suddenly exploded into one big digital revolt. But it didn't stop there. Because then came Mrs. Kowalski, sweet, elderly, kind of hard of hearing, walking over with a paper bag like she was bringing over cookies. Instead, it was more evidence. A third USB drive, with more recordings, this time of Brad laughing about how easy it was to slap new fees on people who don't know better. The neighborhood was now fully awake, not just watching the stream but digging through their own old bills. By the time backup arrived, the detective and 2 more officers, it wasn't about some fake fee anymore. It was about fraud, embezzlement, misuse of authority. Detective Martinez laid it out, cool and professional, $47,000 in fees unaccounted for, several going straight into Karen's personal account. Maya then, and I'll never forget this, reached into her pocket, pulled out her badge, and said, "I've been building this case for months. You just brought it to my front porch." Karen froze. The live stream had thousands of viewers by now. Karen's little plan to publicly shame Maya had turned into the ultimate cell phone. Still, Karen couldn't help herself. She doubled down, started screaming about persecution, how she'd protected the community, how she deserved respect. And then, right there, on camera, she let it slip that she'd been charging people more because they weren't really part of the neighborhood, even dropped a racist comment about Maya's grandmother. That was it. She was done. Officer Torres calmly arrested her on camera while she was still streaming. Karen tried to grab Maya's phone, big mistake, and just like that, added assaulting an officer to her list of charges. Brad tried to save himself by turning over even more documents, probably thinking he'd get a lighter sentence if he cooperated. Maya ended the live stream after thanking the neighbors for their support, and let me tell you, the chat was already turning into a full-blown town hall. People were organizing, demanding audits, planning to replace the HOA board. That night, the cabin that started all this became a kind of sanctuary, people dropping by to thank Maya, to share their own stories. And you'd think it ends there, but no. Karen, from jail, tried to do one last Hail Mary, sent a news station a USB claiming Maya had framed her. But when they aired it, it was just Karen, recorded from jail calls, making more threats and racist remarks. She'd handed the news a final nail for her own coffin. Maya didn't respond with a lawsuit or a rant. She used it as a teaching moment, launched a program called Grandmother's Justice, teaching folks how to recognize HOA scams, how to organize, how to fight back the right way. And now, that little lakeside cabin is where it all began, but it's become so much more. We host barbecues, legal workshops, and yeah, sometimes just sit on the porch watching the sun go down. Karen, serving 2 years, plus restitution. Brad, probation and community service. The neighborhood's different now, stronger, more united, louder. All because one woman decided that silence wasn't an option. So let me ask you, when it comes to fighting back, how far is too far? Was Maya right to hold the line, or should she have just paid the fee and kept the peace? Drop your thoughts below. Tell me what you think is justice in a community like this.